All right, we're here at the top of the hour. Um, Hello and welcome to From Essentials to Excellence, Scaling ITAM with Real World Impact. I'm Rob Friedman, VP of Marketing here at EZO, and I have with me today for today's webinar Hasib Saad, who has been with EZO for over 4 years and working as a product manager for our flagship ITAM solution, AssetSonar. He loves all things automation, whether it be at home or work. So I'm kind of picturing the scene from Back to the Future where you got, Doc's workshop with everything when the clock goes off and everything gets automated and you feed the dog and whatnot. So I kind of want to see a picture of that.
Honestly, that's my dream.
I love it. I love it. Uh, and then he's currently exploring parenting hacks to help him raise his child for the future as a challenge we're all facing. So I feel you there. It's great to have you with us, and I'm excited for today's session. Um, but before we dive in, could you set the stage for our audience that from your perspective as a product expert, um, why is IT asset management, ITAM, such a critical function for any organization, really?
That's an interesting question. So I'll say that ITAM is one of the tools that allows you to be in control. And here's what I mean by that. So as an organization grows, as you're in the IT team, it's very easy to just add in more devices. As more people come in, you're going to add in more hardware, you're going to add in more software, and your list is going to grow up very fast, very quickly. And as your data grows, so do these discrepancies in the data that really get out of control very easily. And with all of these discrepancies happening and your data getting corrupted, you now have a very weak foundation to work on. So anytime you need to make data-driven decisions, like what are or whenever there's going to be an unexpected breakdown happening, devices reaching end of life, compliance breaches, IT might not be even aware that these things are happening, and they will then be reactive to all of these incidents and changes happening in the organization
Yeah.
because it's a weak foundation to begin with. So
So
that's one of the core reasons item solution can come in and ensure that all of your data is connected, is streamlined so that you can move away from being reactive.
yeah, I mean, exactly. It sounds like you end up flying blind, and that's when you hit the danger zone. And that's why we're talking today about scaling ITAM and what those some of those real world impacts are. So today, we're going to kind of cover a few topics here. Um, Inside, we're going to be talking about the breaking point when current ITAM fails in a growing business, your blueprint for building ITAM and how that fuels growth. We'll get into the asset sonar and how that can help you, and then your next steps to a scalable ITAM solution. So, and then we'll leave a little bit of time here at the end for Q&A. But really, the first question is the growth challenge. Is your ITAM ready? And what about those hidden challenges? So, everyone loves to see growth and success in an organization. You got all those great signs. You got new hires. You got you're doing orders for new laptops and cell phones. And having to add more routers and switches as teams expand. Maybe you're branching out into new floors within an office space. Dig in for me, you know, oh, from your conversations with IT managers, which of these pain points do they typically feel first?
So it honestly depends from organization to organization. It's difficult to fit everyone in the same shoe. But one thing that's really, really common, the base of it, is your siloed systems. Since everything is disconnected and there's like so many tools, Rob, I cannot even start to share. The list honestly grows from 25, 30, 40, 50, 60 tools. I've seen like people with 60 or 70 tools just within the IT that they're managing. These are like internal IT department tools, and I'm not getting into the organization tools as of now. Within
Wow.
just the IT department, you're using so many different tools because these vendors out there, they're specialized, they have like specialized tools for one category. And the people who try to do it all oftentimes leave it very shallow. So you definitely now need very specialized tool to get the job done. And with all of these tools, I'm going to come back to the siloed systems. There are like so many siloed systems. And if you want to do, if you want to just onboard a new hire, you're now interacting with at least 8 to 10 systems at the very minimum to get this done. And imagine that if your data is siloed, you don't have decent practices in place, you don't have the right processes in place, you're now dealing challenges in a reactive manner. That might work for a 500 employee company. Honestly, you can slide with it. But as you scale up, as you scale to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 employee company, as your headcount increases, it's the scale of problems, it's not linear at all. Things start to go south very quickly, very fast. Is why you need to ensure that while you're hitting that growth stage, all of your processes are aligned, and you need to move away from the reactive approach to the proactive approach. And it all starts with the right foundations of connected systems, ensuring that whether it's new hiring, whether it's device replacement, whether it's infrastructure scaling, all of these components, you have the right data at your fingertips. And it's not just data, it's the data is now telling you what to do, how to put out fires before they become fires. That's the very main strategic focus of these tools.
Yeah, I always like to say you want to keep you know, stop your trash can fires from becoming dumpster fires, which then eventually out of control become your house fires. You don't want that. You keep the house on
Never,
fire,
never.
avoid the dumpster fires whenever possible. Trash can fires happen. But so we're talking about you covered siloed systems, but one of the things that popped out at me when I first joined here and I was learning about the intricacies of IT asset management was the risk that shadow IT and unauthorized devices. And I thought back to some of my previous roles when I've been I bring my laptop from home and connect it to the network and never thought, why is IT care that I did that? And I learned why. If you want to get into some of those risks that with shadow IT and stuff like that and what they open up a company to?
Oh, of course. So shadow IT, like I'm not sure if like how much are you versed in, but shadow IT is simply put, anything that IT doesn't really know about happening behind the scenes is considered shadow IT. It's very easy for software to be in the shadow IT realm as compared to hardware because device procurements are still happening through IT. Like you wouldn't go out just to buy your own laptop because you feel like it, but
No.
that's not the case for software. If you come across a decent software which like is a free software, or even if it's a paid software and you have your budgets, you're not going to ask IT to for approval or for a quick security check. You're just going to buy it on your own. And
Mm.
that's where all of these problems lure in because you did not run it by IT. They had no idea you're even using it. No one did a security check on it. No one did an audit on it, whether it's even compliant. No one checked that was there like did IT have a relationship with the vendor? Maybe they could have negotiated a better cost. And all of these challenges with rising cost or security incidents happen mostly because employees just go out buy their own software because it's very easy, very frictionless. I've spoken to
Yeah.
many companies where when they were scaling, they had to be very agile, very quick, and they leased out like company credit cards to all of these departments, and they were making their own decisions. It's only when you hit
Wow.
like 1,000 employees, then you get into these challenges that now every department has their own card. IT doesn't even know which tools are there in the organization apart from like apart from the group that they have that group of software that they were managing from the very start. And now IT has to chase people to confirm which software is being used. And that's where the friction now happens because they have to now chase people. Our philosophy or like the philosophy of an item system should be to provide visibility onto everything that's happening, not just hardware, but at a software level. If Rob, you started using a software that might be a risky software, a decent item
Hmm.
system should pick that up and notify IT teams that, Rob just started using this software, might be risky, check it out. And it can even go a bit further, like automating the whole workflow where it lets you know, Rob, this is a risky software. You might want to check in with IT before you proceed.
Makes sense.
Which is
Makes sense.
very interesting around there.
Yeah, I definitely gained a greater appreciation when I started this job for the struggles that IT teams go through, and it's like, okay, this explains the burnout risks and the those things that we've seen in some of our studies, where these teams are stretched thinner with higher risk items on piling on their plate, and yeah, no wonder they got a lot keeping them up at night. So
Yeah,
time for a quick poll, and then we'll give the results at the end. But that quick poll: does your current ITAM feel more like a hurdle than a help? Go ahead and give your answers here, and you know, tell us how if your ITAM feels more like a hurdle than a help as you grow. So yeah, we'll give those answers here at the end. Thanks. Right. Now the elephant in the room: costs. What are those hidden costs that we talk about? It, I think from a, P&L standpoint, these devices aren't cheap. We're spending a lot. If you're losing track of them, what what are the ramifications? You just keep buying and buying and buying. What do you do? And then we'll get into some other risks here. But I want to start off with the wasted spend risk.
yeah, wasted spend. It's like I've so many stories popping in my head right now from our conversations with different partners and customers alike. Um, on Let me share a story there on
Yeah.
spend. So a lot of times when we interact with customers, when they're like initially using a very robust ITAM system, like many of these customers, they were using any like a different ITAM system before. I kid you not, it was very normal for them to say that, every year we're gonna lose about 80,000 worth of tech. It's just the norm. We're gonna lose it. It happens. Like, why is that even normal? Are you losing your tech? Oh, it just happens. It's sometimes we employees leave, they don't return their devices. Sometimes it just gets misplaced. Like, why is that even normal? Turns out they never really thought about it because it's an afterthought. It happens you like when you do an audit, only then you realize that, oh, we're missing these devices. And
Oh, wow.
that's where the reactive nature kicks in as well. That only at the time of audits get to know about your true landscape of your hardware as well as your software. Software, by the way, is a total different ball game here.
Yeah.
$80,000 still relatively low as compared to the software spend. I think there's so much money people have to pay to these software vendors because like someone isn't really using the software anymore. Like I remember this conversation where one of our customers, this was like way back, and they
Hmm.
shared that it's very easy for employees to come in and say that I need this software right now. Can you please give it this software to me as soon as possible? I need this for my work. But once their work is over, they will never message you back that you can take it. I'm done. It's just never the case.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
IT has to chase people. Are you done? Like, do you still this? Do you still need this software? And it's not just one person or one software. There's the list. On average, I've seen people typically use around like 250 plus software with a headcount of again 2,000 employees. Now you're looking at, I don't know what, major 40, 50,000 seats being procured. Even at 10%, that cost is sitting at $100,000, $140,000. That's just wasted money. You can easily reclaim that. But if you don't even have those insights, if your system doesn't even capture that, then what can you even do? You're just going to write it off the books.
Yeah. I think of in the past, there's definitely software you need for a very specific project, or you need a tool. And like, I remember we were doing this one RFP for a customer, and they required that you submit it through a certain system in a certain format, and you needed, there's only a couple of different tools that would help you, do it that way. But once we were done with that particular RFP, yeah, it was probably 6 months before we remembered, oh yeah, we don't need this anymore. We can cancel it now. Uh, so, and yeah, wasted. I definitely yeah, that can mount up fast. Absolutely. And then
And all of that wasted spend, since you don't even know what that spend is going on, all your management, like the company management, looks at IT as people who get the job done, but take in a lot of budget, and
yeah,
that puts up the pressure of like I've worked with many customers where, I'm sorry to say this, but these guys, like I genuinely feel for these customers, because feel for these people, because their management often sees them as a cost center, a department that just takes up 10%, 15% of the budgets of the entire company, because IT infrastructure, like these are tech companies where IT does play a vital role, but these costs can easily be managed if you have a robust system in place where you're looking at every hardware, every breakage, every software being used, and you can save tons of money on that.
wow. So talking about some other red flags here, talking about security lapses, talking about inefficiency in your processes, more wasted spend, and how to scale. Um, you know, want to talk about what are some of these escalating risks. And here in the presentation we're talking about the famous Equifax breach that caused by unpatched vulnerability as an example. How does the modern strategic ITAM solution directly help an IT manager prevent something like this from happening? So what are some of those things that so that we don't become the next Equifax?
So it boils down to taking action very quickly. The
Mm,
moment you became aware, it's the same moment you need to take action. And that's where I love that automation then kicks in. If, for example, let's take that take the Equifax case. As soon as the tech became aware that there is this software that's now unpatched, it needs to be patched really quickly. Why wait on making that happen? As often teams rely on manual input or manual processes where someone has to come in, try out a new patch, try out a new software update in a safe environment to first test it out. Then they're going to roll it out on the production units. It's going to take a lot of time. Imagine an update coming in at 9 p.m. Like you're out. You're going to come in tomorrow 9 a.m., get your coffee, check your emails. It's easy now, 10 a.m. You're going to get through the work. And between that window of 12 hours, a lot can happen. And that's exactly the case with Aquafox. And these type of incidents can easily be managed if you have automated systems in place that as soon as something really happens, take the action. Why wait on it? And yeah, that's where a strategic item system can really uplift your game. As soon as it sees something, even if it's the one telling that this is something that's really off in the box, it can take actions automatically without relying on human input.
yeah, yeah, and I don't mean to beat up on Equifax here. This happens a lot, and at different scales. We see this happening. Uh, and some of the other red flags that we've seen working with our customers is vanishing assets and vanishing time. So Hasib, can you explain for us that shift from simply tracking your assets reactively to proactively managing their entire life cycle. And how does this help eliminate some of these frustrating scenarios that we've outlined here?
Yeah, again, so it's easy to manage devices if they're like 250, or like if maybe like in a month you're adding 2 or 3 devices. It's easy to manually manage all of these new changes happening in your environment. As you scale up, as these devices are happening, as these changes are happening very frequently and very fast, this becomes a tedious task. Like, who would want to do data entry at this time of AI age, right? Like, why would you even
Right.
it can easily be automated, and it should have been automated a long time ago. And I'm happy to see the trends that almost all of these ITAM systems are moving towards that direction. But like when these, for example, custody management is that one thing that frequently changes. We believe that why do people even need to manage custody for that matter? When you're handing off a device to someone, they're already, as soon as they log in, as soon as they connect to their identity management, their email is there. Does the ITAM system really need to wait for someone to manually sign custody or manually update the records? Like, no, nothing. It should just automatically figure out where the device is located, who's really using it, are they even using it, and not just for the hardware, at the software level as well. As soon as someone gets access to the software, it should automatically do the job. I remember
Yeah.
just recently, I was talking to a customer. Um, their Adobe license, um, was being renewed, and they were tracing down all of the people who had access to Adobe, and they compiled a list. Like, this is a person, I kid you not, who has to work around 10 hours easy every single day because of the load. And one of the things that they had to do is message people, like email people, that are you using Adobe? And then they had to wait, and they had to message them back. And when
Oh,
we showed them that we have a system in place that just automatically does that for you. It automatically looks at, are you even using software? And if people aren't really using it, it automatically shoots out an email to them, compiles the report for you, and that's just automated, fully automated. Why do you need to spend so much time on it? Guess how much time she was spending on
uh,
compiling the usage report?
I mean, it sounds like what, a couple hours a week?
7 hours a week.
Seven.
Like, what are you doing?
Jeez.
And yeah, and it wasn't just the hours, it was the friction that he had to now endure
The
between people, because
frustration.
no one likes the email. Yeah, yeah. Like, they now had to be polite with all of the employees. Like, I try to understand it's my job. Some people message back, some don't even have the courtesy to message back. Like, they might be busy, they might be rude, but it's just a pain to go through, honestly.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
that's where the burnout really happens, when you're dead in and you had to deal with all of these nuances.
no, and that makes sense. I mean, that would burn anybody out to have to manually track all that and doing that across several different, I guess, tools as well. It's not just a one shot deal.
Two, 250, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then another major problem, stalled decisions, and kind of talking about and this is something for the CFOs out there, inaccurate budgeting, poor data. If you're in procurement, I mean, this is got to definitely have an impact on you. Kind of get into how this all plays a role when you don't have the right visibility into your ITAM situation.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it one step further. It's it's one thing to not have visibility for your own sake. It's a totally different thing where you don't have the visibility to tell others. I
Hmm.
talked about the rising costs in IT. I remember working with a few partners. They mentioned that they were having troubles. They mentioned that they were going through a hyper growth phase where they were adding in a lot of new hires, a lot of new members to the team. And the problem was that they were adding in new members without even touch basing with IT. And I'll tell you why it's so important. IT, as soon as you hire a new person, it's one thing to know that they're going to get a new laptop, maybe a new pair of headphones, all of
Sure.
that stuff. But all of the software that the IT now has to give to them, it's expensive. And these other departments, they had no idea how much it really costs to onboard a person from a technology standpoint. And they were just adding in people blindly. Someone added like 50 people just this week and expected IT to prepare them to onboard them from a technology perspective. Now IT had no
Wow.
visibility on this much scale, and of course they're going to take their time, contact their vendors, bring in all of the hardware, contact their vendors, bring in all of the seats. It's going to take time, and it's going to then also tell them to appropriately release budgets, because all of these new hires, well, there's a tech sprint cost for each employee. And it's one thing that sometimes without these decent tools in place, IT might not have the idea how much it really costs, each how much each person in each department costs. It's one thing to not have that visibility for yourself. It's a totally different ball game to not being able to give that visibility to your leadership teams, to your other departments, that hey, it's cool that you're going to add 50 people, but here's how much it's going to cost us. Well, someone needs to release their budgets as well, and that's where a lot of miscommunication happens without that visibility, and these decisions are then easily stalled. Imagine the 50 people just came in, they had to like now wait over 3 days. Now their onboarding got delayed as well. Something that could have easily been managed well in advance.
Yep. Yep. No, and and also it hurts the new employee experience as well. When you come in and it kind of feels like that's your one of your first touch points as a new employee is when you get your tech, you get your workspace. Uh and if that's like, well, your day one, you don't even have a laptop, it just sets a bad tone. You're like, you knew I was coming. Yeah.
As a job, like imagine you're going to a new company and you're being told that there is no laptop. Well, you get a day off.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
There, there's some pros to it as well.
A little bit. Yeah. Get to know your neighbors better. The you know, and I like talking about this one, and I think this is a key moment for most organizations is when they go from being from chaos to control. When you go from this purely reactive, putting out the fires, trying to stop them from burning down your house to control. You actually have visibility. And you know, if you could kind of talk about what this is, what this likes, and what are some of those signs that your organization like is ready to take on these challenges, and what are some of the easy, like low hanging fruit people can do to try to help their organization focus on visibility, control, and optimization security?
Hmm. So I'm gonna have a different perspective on this, from chaos to control. I'll share that perspective. So
Yeah.
I'll say the right time to see if like the red flags to be aware of is that how much time is being managed effectively by yourself. If you ever feel that there's a lot of time that just goes out in the non-essential stuff, that's the biggest red flag. Because to be honest, you can never put out all of the fires. The fires are going to be there regardless. But what's the least effective part is that you're putting out the small fires while the big fires you're not even aware of. And that's what I think what we do really good, or like these ITAM tools should do a good job, is all of these small fires, they shouldn't just never exist at all. So that
Right.
actual bigger fires can now be dealt with in a controlled manner. Like imagine you're just chasing down small issues every day. You're being dragged down by these basic things, these ghost assets and audits. Come on, like that's a thing that no one really wants to spend their time on. Like bigger crisis
No one
happening,
does.
and
Yep.
we just want to ensure that at least these basic stuff, these should be in control so that you're now free to take out the bigger fires. Because that's more interesting, that's more rewarding, that's being in control.
Yep. So we've got a philosophy here. It's our three pillars of strategic asset management. And I kind of want you to, walk us through these three. You got single real-time inventory. Another one's full cycle control and optimization, and then automated discovery. So kind of walk us through these three and why is it crucial for growing organizations to manage their assets in this way, and why have we developed this philosophy?
Yeah, so um, as I mentioned, like everything, you can do a lot of these automations and insights controlled if you have a strong foundation uh, helping you do all of that. And a strong foundation is a foundation that captures all of your data, puts it in a streamlined system with, because that data is already there. All of the devices, unlike other teams, like facilities, for example, one of the perks we also have is dealing with facilities. When I look at their tech or like their infrastructure as compared to our IT infrastructure, all of the infrastructure is already connected to the internet. It's very easy to just streamline that together in
Hmm.
a single solution, and then you can and with that stronger foundation in place, all of the consolidation of the data, you now have a stronger foundation to begin with. All of your MDMs, they can get connected. All of your users in identity management get connected in. Your ticket systems get connected in. Your antivirus systems get connected in. All of your systems they can just easily connect in, and everything is now attached to your hardware and your software and your users and your tickets. These are like the basic building blocks.
One.
Once you have that, once you have these ecosystems, then you can now move strategically on lifecycle management. For example, one of the big stages in lifecycle management is procurement and disposal.
Hmm.
And for procurement, well, are you procuring the right amount? How do you know that you cannot reuse your existing hardware or you cannot reuse your existing software? If you don't have the data, the foundation, the baseline covered well, we're going to overspend for sure. We're always going to think that maybe we just need to buy more laptops, we just need to buy more routers, we just need to buy more seats. And that's going to then cause
That's
problems later into the future. And with the foundation covered, now you're focusing on the life cycle. You know how to act proactively procure your devices. You know how many end of life happening proactively for all of your devices, because the warranty, all of the services is out there. It just combines into a single system, and then you can proactively manage it. Once you got this, once you get this stage covered of life cycle management, now you want to automate it. Once you're done with your manual processes, once you're done streamlining all of that, then you want to move into the automation round and automate the heck out of it. That's my philosophy. That's our Perks philosophy. And that is what we want to do with our customers as well. Automate the heck out of it. And
very nice.
with automations now, there's so many examples, but um, are we going to cover automations right now or maybe in the future? I'm not sure.
I've got a little bit something on automation and AssetSonar in our next section here, but here we can kind of dig into some of these integrations and how it all feeds into this one central record of truth for the IT team.
Yeah. So procurement, let's talk about procurement.
Yeah.
So since there are specialized tools now, procurement happens in different tools. Like someone needs to create a PO, like the demand is going to come from a ticketing system. Then
Hmm.
someone needs to create a PO. That PO is going to be processed by accounting. They're going to then create the order in a different system. Maybe like someone is using NetSuite for POs. They're using CDW for procurement. They're using then again NetSuite for accounting purposes. And all of these systems then help or get used while procuring a device. And then during procurement, all of your tech tools kick in, your identity management tools, your vendor MDM tools, they kick in. Then your antivirus tools kick in. Like there's a bunch
Hmm.
of tools kicking in. And imagine like while you have set up some of the automations there to connect with these ecosystems, the record keeping system, your item system that knows about these devices has yet to be manually updated. Or at least if it does capture the devices as soon as they're bought and are online, where is the history of it? How do we ensure that this is the vendor who procured it? This is how much we paid for it? Because these costs are then going to play back into the employee tech spend. So
Right.
these systems that need to be in place so that whenever you need to work on them, whenever you need to take any insights, the tech spend cost, how many devices are going to expire, um, this need to happen. And this is where some of the integrations can really kick in, ensure that all of your data is now streamlined for you to either do work yourself or automate the heck out of it.
Nice. So now let's kind of dive into our solution as a sonar and kind of like I'll let you kind of walk us through an introduction of how we've achieved this agent based and network based discovery and how for an IT manager dealing with devices both inside and out of the office and why that's important to have these different discovery methods.
Yeah, I'll say that these are like one of the basic expectations to have in place. Like I've worked with many customers who prefer not to use any other systems and only connect to MDMs to fetch in all of the devices, or connect to other systems in the cloud to fetch in all of the infrastructure into the system. But if you want to do shallow work, these integrations definitely allow you to do that. Here's what I mean by shallow work.
Hmm.
Since ATMs were not really purpose built for device keeping or consolidation of data, they were built for managing policies. They don't go very deep in extracting all of the details from the device. They capture maybe like 15, 20, or 40 data fields at max. And if you want to go really deep into the system, if you want to capture every single thing, then you need a purpose-built solution, and that's where the agent and agentless solutions kick in. If you want to go extreme, if you want to capture every single thing from the device, well, you have to then use a dedicated system for that.
Yep. Yep. And
And
I've yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no, 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 please.
No, I was gonna say, and then the other things that in the app that help manage the team. If you want to talk about how some of these other features like barcoding, the mobile app, how's the mobile app help, customizable fields, and how does this give greater control and visibility to the IT team?
Oh yeah, definitely. By the like, I'm not a salesperson. I don't think you are either.
No, we're
We
not. No,
don't
that's
really this stuff. I'm
we
just gonna
give
be
the real frontline
yeah.
approach.
Uh, and and the real so when we're building the solution, there are like many different things that we have to get into. These are, we believe, one of the basic systems in place. QR code scanning, mobile apps, customizable fields. Since these are some of the basic expectations that a person would need to have, right? There are many areas that we want to work on, like sorry, that we have to showcase. Couldn't add in all of them, but let's build on that data conversation. Once you have all of the data, then you want to now see it, create insights on it, create automations on it. You even want to schedule something that happens just automatically. All of these systems, and we wanted to make a like easy system so that it feels natural while interacting. I kid you not, there are so many B2B vendors out there that don't really give focus to their interfaces.
Yep.
It's still, it's okay to just build a 90s interface and expect people to use it. Sure, like they're gonna still use it, but come on, like you can put in some effort to make it pleasing, make it easy to use.
Yeah.
Uh, that's what we want to do. That's what we have been doing, making it easy to use, super easy, so that it doesn't seem like an overwhelming tool. If you're using Excel, we want to give you an even simpler experience. And that's where we really do our best work, make it super easy to use, because all of the functionalities you would expect from an item tool, they're there. But how can we make it super easy for people to just leverage all of that power and streamline their operations. That's what we really want to focus on. That's what we have been doing in streamlining all of that.
I say one of the wow moments when I've we do many events, and one of the wow moments at the booth that I've had is when I show the people the software license optimizer. I kind of walk through this a little bit for folks. It's always a big hit when it's like an eye opener for most of the IT folks when they come by.
Yeah, like again, like people had no idea how much. I remember when we were building this license optimizer, when we first looked at the raw data, we were shocked to the core that this is how much people are spending, like overspending this. It has so much potential. If only they knew, and we had to expedite all of the delivery so that we could ship it out as soon as we can, so people understand how much are they overpaying for software and how much can they save just by reclaiming these unused or unwanted software.
Yeah. So we've talked about one of the major headaches for teams is maintenance scheduling, warranty tracking. How do these specific tools in Asset Sonar empower an IT team to become more proactive and less reactive? I think that's always the goal here, is to again continue with that theme of catching the fires before they have a chance to flare up.
So, as you now have, like, once you have a stronger foundation where all of your data is now streamlined into a system and it's now connected to all of your ecosystem, let's take the case of end of life happening. So instead of you now waiting on or not even knowing that your devices are now come reaching end of life, this our system can automatically pick up warranty details through vendors automatically. It automatically figures out which devices are now in your IT real estate. It automatically captures all of that warranty information, and now automations now kick in. So you can configure automations that as soon as a device is about to reach its end of life, create a ticket, automatically assign it to this person, send it to the right queue, send an email to the employee telling them that their device will need housekeeping, let them know that they have to now bring in the device at this time. Let's automatically now tell the procurement teams to purchase a new device because this device is now getting expired. And all of that is now happening automatically. All you're now doing is either clicking proceed or just looking at the system, taking action while you can sip your coffee.
Yeah, nice. And then I think this is one of the near and dear things to your heart is automations.
Mm-hmm.
Getting some of those automated alerts and
Automations.
actions.
Like again, there's so many things that you can automate. I truly believe that ITAM can be fully automated. I'm working on figuring out how to do more and more into that realm. Um, and it starts with we started with alerts. Alerts is the most basic
Yeah.
automation that you can. Whenever something goes down, notify me. Whenever something happens, notify me. Whenever or like even reports. I recently talked to this partner where they were setting up reports for their managers because not everyone wants to jump into the ITAM system to just know some things. And there's wherever schedule reports
Mhm.
really can set up reports and it's going to automatically send out a PDF, send out an email to the relevant people without them needing to jump into the system to look at the data, like look at anything really. And we even invested in building out a whole automation engine that lets you configure and create automations for your own specific needs. If you want to add in different things, different actions, go ahead, add them in. And um, as I mentioned, custody management is one of the other things that we just fully automated. As soon as a device comes in, it's going to automatically get assigned a group, a person, like it's automatically going to assign the right person who is in ownership of the device. Whenever devices change hands, it just happens in the background. And you can now reliably look at your data, know that it's accurate whenever your devices are moving across different cities with remote employees. It's very easy for remote employees to just move every now and then. And I might not even have any clue that their tech is now moving borders. And that's where our systems can just really bring in all of that automatically without you doing anything.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that was an excellent overview of the solution for AssetSonar. And as we wrap up, what's your final single message that you have for IT leaders, IT managers, and people coming up in the field as well about what they should be looking for their path forward?
Well, it's a bigger question. There's a lot of automations happening. I believe automations is something that was happening previously. And with AI is just honestly doing automations for us. It just accelerated the scope of what we now can automate. And with the automations coming in, you can either use it to your advantage, putting them in the right place at the right time so that you can now scale, focus on the much bigger problems in a cost effective manner, or you can still be down solving or like putting down the small fires. Again,
Yep.
my last words will be look out if you're spending your time solving or putting out small fires, that's your red flag. That is where you need to change so that you can go out and put on those bigger fires and let automations keep your small fires at place.
Yep. Can't agree with that more. Just before we get into the Q&A, so if anybody does have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. I did want to give the results of our poll, and 100% of people answered yes, that their ITAM solution is more of a hurdle than a help. So if you're
Ooh.
trying to help you get over that hurdle, of course, you can always reach out to us. We're happy to help give you a deep dive demo into AssetSonar and help you solve some of those pain points, find ways around them, find ways to automate the struggles and the challenges that you have. So if anybody has any questions, we're ready to take those, and we are running just about on time. And of course, as I wait for the questions to be entered, we've got feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn. We're both easy to find. And hope if you want to email us again, we've got the email and phone number down in the corner here on the screen. Let's see, Bebrook, any questions? Yes. So, good question. First one that came in, Robin. Yes, we can definitely get you a copy of this PowerPoint and the recording. So we will have that ready for people. You'll get it out probably tomorrow. So we'll definitely get that out to everybody. And that'll also go for anybody who happened to register but could not join today. We will send it out to anybody who is registered. They'll get the full link. Excellent. And then got another question coming in. Let's see. All right. Yep. We got you. People will get the recording. And Steve, this one goes definitely is for you. What's your favorite automation that you've set up here within AssetSonar for help build here within AssetSonar?
What's my favorite automation that I've built in Azure Sonar?
Yeah.
I would for now pick the offboarding automation, and I really love it. And I'll share why. Because
Mhm.
as soon as someone is being offboarded, all IT has to do, or even HR at this point, just have to enter in the name, sorry, enter in the offboarding date of the person leaving in their HR tool or in the identity access management tool. And that's it. That's all you have to do. Add in the date of the person when they're offboarded. Our systems are now going to kick in. They're going to read that date. They're now going to create a ticket. Let the service teams, let the help desk teams know that this is a person who's now getting offboarded. Here's a list of all of the hardware and software that you now need to take back. And it goes a bit further. Any software that it can take back automatically, it's going to take back automatically through either telling your Okta or your
Mhm.
other IAM system in place. it's going to now tell at, sorry, if it's the last offboarding day, it's now going to tell these MDM systems to automatically lock these devices for security reasons so that these employees cannot log back in and they have to send these devices back. And it
Lockdown.
goes, and now we're going further that we were now integrating your logistic providers so that the logistic sides of things specifically for remote employees can also happen automatically.
Oh,
And
that's great.
that's just like the click in the offboarding workflows. There's so much more that you can do, but just love it.
Yeah. Another question came in. You mentioned security incidents that can happen when departments get their own software. Do we happen to have a list of those things you mentioned? I know I can provide a couple of case studies, but anything you want to share with a group of couple of like security scenarios, nightmare scenarios when
So
people are getting their own.
I would say that, it's difficult to, I'm trying to understand the question really well. Security incidents, they do happen, like having a list of those, I would assume it's a list of insecure, like unsafe software at this point. And I would say that the software landscape, since there are so many websites out there, it's now becoming very difficult to just keep a track of which websites are safe and which ones aren't. And oftentimes it's more than about policies than about tools what you can do. For example, I remember
Mm,
working with some of the partners who whitelisted the tools that their employees can use. And it happens that, like, if you're in a certain industry that has a lot of compliance restrictions, then you might want to whitelist what software gets used and what doesn't. If you want to restrict browser usage, or if you want to capture all of the browser data, then that's another way of capturing and knowing what employees are using. How can you restrict it? And it's not about restricting, it's about knowing information that can then later be used to um, track back incidents, a security
yeah.
breach maybe. And that's very effective to just be aware of what is being used in the software world, specifically SaaS or websites.
Nice. Yeah. And I was thinking of like this shadow IT issue I've read about is people bringing their own LLM to work, so to speak, and did freely uploading like proprietary information into a public LLM and that risk that it brings from an IP perspective plus other risks, and then IT teams now having to lock down some of those certain sites. It's like, yes, we want you leveraging AI, but in a safe and meaningful way. Like use the paid version that's locked down for the company that isn't used for training, etc. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
like,
these I remember getting into the settings. There are some companies are very sneaky about it. By default, they have turned on the option for using your input data for training. You could have
yeah,
easily disabled that, but I understand their reasoning as well. They just want to capture as much data to train better models. That might be okay for personal use, but it's a totally different ballgame now in an organization setting.
yep.
And it's very easy for employees to just use their personal LLMs or even a company account or a free version of that without knowing that they have to disable these settings first.
Yep. Another question in, if we already have the premium license, how can we upgrade as a sonar? So what you need to do is just contact support at EZO.io. And if you just contact your customer success team, we'll get you routed to the right person and talk to you about that upgrade. That's not a problem. We can definitely do that for you. And I think we are just about out of questions. I want to thank everybody for their time, for joining us. Again, the recording will come out later. Again, Hasib, thank you for joining. I know it's getting late for you, and I appreciate it. And I am excited to do this with you again here in the future. Thank you
I
to the team.
likewise. This was fun.
It is fun. It is fun. I always love. I love a chance to kind of hang out with you, so to speak. And yes, if anyone needs to talk to sales or customer success, those emails are down here in the corner, sales at ezo.io or support at ezo.io. Again, I'm Rob Friedman here with Hasib, and thanks for joining. Have a good day.
I